Hello and welcome to Monday's Yoga Club. Your practice is at your own risk, so pay attention to how you are feeling as you do either the video or the live class, making the right decisions, taking lighter options where that's right for you, and maybe missing things out if they're not what your body needs today. We're going to start today's Yoga Club lying down, so if you want to take yourself to stretched out, maybe coming to Shavasana, feet out to the corners of the mat. Hello Marcus. Hands away from the body, palms turned up. Maybe as you lie there, if you've got a sense of your chin pointing right up towards the ceiling, you could maybe just lift your head, tuck your chin down, and then lay your head back down. And if you still have that sense of your chin pointing right up to the ceiling, you might want to put a block or a cushion behind your head. The main thing now is to relax, rest, let go for a moment. Letting go of your day as it's been so far. Letting go of thoughts of what comes tomorrow or after this yoga class. Bringing all of your awareness and thoughts inwards. Ready to be aware of your body, to be aware of your breath as we practice yoga tonight. To help keep your awareness within. When you're ready, you can take your awareness to your breathing, starting to become aware of each inhale, being aware of each exhale. Initially observing, not changing in any way. Seeing if you can notice where there's the most movement in your body as you inhale and exhale. Starting to guide your inhale downwards, so the expansion goes into your abdomen, so that as you breathe in, your abdomen rises. As you exhale, your abdomen falls. And if as you're doing that, you're not completely sure if the air is right, lifting and lowering your abdomen, you could take your hands onto your abdomen. Then you'll really be able to feel the connection between your abdomen moving and your breath. Starting to lengthen your breath a little. So maybe as you draw in a little bit more, but not taking it to a point of strain. And as you exhale, you could draw your navel towards your spine gently, again not to the point of strain. As you do that, you'll know that each inhale is drawing in the most air and energy and life into your body. And you'll also know that as you exhale, you're expelling the most stale air, ready to bring in a fresh lungful on the next breath. We're going to have a bit more focus on the breath tonight. I'll talk a little bit about why we use the breath in the way we do as we go through some of the postures that we'll do tonight. So allowing yourself one good final abdominal breath here. And bringing your hands by your side. And as you next inhale, taking your arms up to the ceiling and then over behind your head to land onto the ground. Bending your elbows if you want to allow your arms to land comfortably on the ground. As you next exhale, bring your hands back in by your side. So it's keeping that movement going with your breath. Inhaling, arms go up and overhead. Exhaling, they come back by your side. Making your arms movement an exact representation of your breath. So your arms are moving for the whole of the inhale, the whole of the exhale. And if you can, Make sure that your arms are reflecting your breath rather than changing your breath to reflect your arms. When your arms are next overhead, keep them above your head. Bring your feet together, stretch your arms towards the wall behind you, toes press forward as your arms stretch back, stretching as long as you can. When you next exhale, relax, bring your arms by your side, coming from there slowly to sitting. And from sitting, it looks like I've just woken you all up, but then from sitting to standing, ready for sun salutations. Standing at the top of your mat, bringing your feet together. Pushing your feet downwards into the mat as you lift the crown of your head to the ceiling, making firm footprints of your whole foot into your mat. Shoulders relaxing, front of your chest lifting gently. 2 breaths as always to begin. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, bringing your palms together at the center of your chest, lifting your elbows, relaxing your shoulders, reaching your arms up. Once they're lifted, see if they'll come higher, and then take your whole arm and armpit back, allowing that to tilt your rib cage up towards the ceiling, easing your abdomen forward. From your hips, stretch and reach your arms forward. Keep them lifted for as long as you can, but there'll come a point when you just want to let everything go. Neck muscles relax, arms come to the ground. Bending your knees so your fingertips can touch the mat. Bending your knees just enough so that your fingertips can make contact. Taking your right leg all the way back. Let your gaze lift there. Allow your hips to relax, pressing your heel back. That helps your knee to lift. So your heel and ankle are active, your right knee is active, but your hips, you're trying to relax them down as much as you can. Creating a long line from the heel to the crown of your head. But one of the ways to lengthen that is to think maybe about taking your collarbones and seeing if you can just lift them forward and up a little. Send your left foot back to come to a first down face dog. Hips lift towards the ceiling, but everything else is heading downwards. Your hands head down, your heels head down, your armpits come back and down, your neck muscles relax, your head's just hanging where it naturally and easily hangs. Come forward to plank, so your wrists are directly underneath your shoulders. Heels could press back to help your knees be active. A little bit of navel towards your spine. And your hips are just active enough so that they're not dipping down, but not so active that they're lifting up. You want them creating that perfect straight line. Lower your knees. Bring your chest slowly to the mat. Touch down with your chin, or if you easily reach your forehead, have a press forward as you lift your face and lift your chest. Shoulders come up and back, elbows are in close, your chest lifting, your arms relaxing and resting on the ground, not adding to the lift. Tucking your toes under, lifting your hips. You could take them back, especially early on, to your hips first, and to your heels first, and then straightening your legs, down face dog, hands, heels pressing down, hips lifting. Taking some calf stretches, bending your right knee, and as you next exhale, left heel firmly presses down, stretching the left calf. Next inhale, swap that over, so left knee bends, and exhaling, right heel firmly down. 2 more rounds of that. Inhale as you swap. Exhale, the left heel pressing to the ground. Inhale to swap. exhaling the right heel down. Inhale, swap. Exhale, final firm press down of the left heel. Inhale, swap, final firm press down of the right heel. Left heel pushes down to join the right, lifting your hips, pushing your hips down, taking your hips back to the wall behind you, looking between your hands. Bring your right foot through. Once it's through, gaze lifts, hips relax. Left foot through, come into forward fold. The upper body relaxing and resting downwards. Then reaching your arms forward and up. Taking them back, armpits shown to the ceiling. And hands come down. Inhale. Exhale. So I'm going to just talk through the breaths we take as we do our sun salutations. So have your hands relaxing. We'll take that first rest breath. So inhale. Exhale as you bring your palms together. Then on your next inhale, you're stretching and reaching up. So holding here, but keep breathing. So that inhale that we take as we come up here, we often take an inhale in yoga as we lift and make things active. So the inhale is here because we want this to be an active lift, lifting the chest and taking the arms back. Then as you next exhale, taking the next move, so your arms start to reach down and you're reaching forward and down, relaxing everything. So do keep breathing. So that exhale comes here to help all the muscles relax as we get down into our forward fold. And those muscles relaxing will help the hamstrings in particular to relax, helping us come deeper into the forward fold. So the next breath in the sequence is the inhale. So as you next inhale, take your left leg back. So that inhale comes because we want to be lifting the chest, keeping the knee active. It's all about activity in the body, although there is a bit of a relax in the hips, which if you just notice, as you take your next breath or two, just notice what happens to your hips as you exhale. Or notice how the exhale can help your hips to relax a little closer towards the mat. Then as you next exhale, take your right foot back. So the down face dog, the down face dog is quite an active posture. It seems a bit odd sometimes to do it on an exhale, but the exhale helps to have everything pressing down towards the ground, so that it's only the hip that lifts up. The really active part is the heels pressing down, the hands pressing down and pushing forward. As you next inhale, come forward to plank. So the inhale, this is a very active posture, pushing the ground away, pushing the heels away, navel towards your spine. And then of course, as you next exhale, lowering down. This is all about relaxing the body, bringing it down to the mat, having a quick relax. Then as you next inhale, lifting the face and lifting the chest. So that inhale helps us with the lift, gives us the strength in the back. When you next exhale, lift your hips and come back to down face dog. Finding that downward movement of our hands, armpits and heels that will go when we do the full sequence with the breath. Then as you next inhale, bring your left foot through. Again, active, lifting face, lifting chest, heel pushing away behind you. Next exhale, the right foot will come through. So here it's all about relaxing everything down to the ground. And then the final breath in the sequence is the inhale, and you're using that to bring yourself back up. So as you inhale, bring yourself up to standing, reaching and stretching up. Oh, it's not quite, that wasn't quite the final breath. The final is the exhale, where it's all about lowering the hands and that relaxation before we do it all over again in the next round. So let's take one more round, hands relaxing, crown of your head lifting, shoulders relaxing, beginning with a rest breath. Inhale, exhale, palms press firmly together. Inhale, reaching and stretching up and then back. Exhaling, reaching and stretching forward and then down, relaxing everything in the upper body to the ground. Inhale, right leg back. Lift your gaze, relax your hips. Exhale, left foot back, hands and heels pressing down, hips lifting. Inhale, forward to plank, pushing the ground away with your hands, exhaling as you lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts, shoulder blades, knees back. Exhale, toes tuck, hips lifting on high, hands pushing forward against the mat. Inhale, right foot through, gaze lifts, hips relax. Exhale, left foot through, forward fold, head hanging heavy. Inhale, reaching and stretching up, lifting your gaze to the ceiling. Exhale, hands down. Inhale. Exhale, palms together. Inhale, reaching, stretching up. Exhale, forward, relaxing down. Inhale, left leg back, hips relax. Exhale, right foot back, down face dog, hips lifting to the ceiling. Inhale, forward to plank. Exhale as you lower. Inhale, face and chest lifts, shoulder blades ease back. Exhaling, toes tuck, hips lift on high, heels push down. Inhale, left foot through, lift your gaze. Exhale, right foot through, forward fold. Inhale, reaching and stretching up, leading with your arms. Exhaling, hands down. Feet apart, palms face forward. Couple of breaths there, feeling the lift of the inhale, feeling the subside and relaxation of the exhale. From there, we're going to come to lying down. So bring yourself to a comfortable lying down posture. We're going to take a lying down twist. So if you want to grab a belt to help you to lift your leg when we take a hamstring stretch, then please do. If you don't have a yoga belt, then you could take any sort of belt. Could be a belt, it could be an old tie that you're not using because you don't go to work in an office anymore, or it could be a belt cord from a dressing gown. Relaxing here, feet to the corners of the mat, hands away from the body, palms turned up, keeping your awareness on your breath. And that's another key use of the breath. In this moment, as you lie here, your mind could easily wander away from the class. This is a moment when you can keep your attention on your breath. So your breath is that constant presence in your body that at any time you can choose to be aware of. And by being aware of it, you're making this practice, even this simple practice of lying on the floor, mindful, keeping your mind in this present moment. Preparing for our twist. Bending your knees, bringing your feet in towards you. Taking your arms out at shoulder height, so your arms stretch wide. Picking your left foot up, crossing your left ankle on your right knee, and taking your hips 2 or 3 inches to the left by pressing into your right foot and then lowering them down. Then we're going to use the exhale to help us to relax the hips over. So as you next exhale, start your hips moving slowly over to the right. Your legs setting slowly over. But take a few breaths to come down. Each time you exhale as you come down, that's the time when your hips might relax and lower a little further. If the aim would be to have the sole of your foot landing on the ground, but if that doesn't happen easily, you could take your right foot that's on the ground towards the center of the mat, and as your legs come down, that will maybe allow the sole of your left foot to land onto the ground. Then taking your right hand onto your left knee and allowing your right foot, the sole of your left foot can lift as you start to press that knee down so that you end up just on the outer edge of your left, sorry, the inside edge of your left foot. I will get this right in a moment. So easing your knee down towards the ground, feeling the twist develop in your spine, feeling a stretch start to develop down the outside of your left leg as your ITB gets a stretch. And then we'll deepen this using the breath. So we inhale, pushing down the left shoulder blades, that's active. And we exhale, easing the right knee down, left knee down a little more. And here we're using the relaxing effect of the exhale. So whenever we breathe out, it tends to naturally relax the muscles, which is exactly what we want to do in order to deepen the twist and bring the knee a little closer to the mat. So taking a couple more breaths there. Inhale, shoulder blade down, exhale, knee relaxes down a little more, giving it some assistance with your right arm. Then we'll take this into a hamstring stretch. So turn your gaze to the right, straighten your top leg, and with your leg straight, take a hold of it from underneath. If you find the furthest you can reach is above the knee, then you may want to use a belt. If you're able to reach below the knee, maybe down as close as your ankle, then take a grip with your hand. Lowering your foot as close to the ground as your left shoulder blade allows. So as your left shoulder blade lifts off, you might need to lift that leg back up a little. And then using your right hand, either your right hand against the leg or the belt holding the leg, ease that leg up towards the wall that's above your head. And here now we can use the breath. Again, it's that relaxing effect of the exhale. So every time you breathe out, that's the point when you might want to see if your toes will lift a little higher to the wall above your head. Knowing that only a relaxed muscle will stretch. The more relaxed it is, the more lift you'll get. Have one more breath. Exhaling, lifting your toes higher. Then bend, let go of your leg, bend your left knee, bring your knees towards each other. Inhaling, knees come up towards the ceiling. Resetting there. So resetting your arms to shoulder height. Feet hip distance and hips back into the center. Picking up your right foot, placing your right ankle on your left knee. Picking up your hips, moving them 2 or 3 inches to the right. With your arms pressing firmly into the ground, with your shoulder blades pressing into the ground, anchoring you at the top of your body. Exhaling, start to send your legs over to the left hand side. Let them come down. You might take a breath or two to get all the way down. So each exhale, let them relax a little closer to the mat. Maybe bringing your left foot closer to the center if you need to help them to come down. Left hand on right knee, starting to slowly ease your knee down towards the mat. Keeping your right shoulder blade in contact with the ground. So you only lift as high as your right shoulder blade will allow you. Then when you've gone as far as you can easily go, we'll deepen with the breath. So Barry, if you take your left foot a little closer to your sofa behind you, then that might help you to land your outer edge of your leg down onto the ground. Yeah, so if you now, yeah, that's far enough, I think. Then you may find you can then come down more easily to the ground. Perfect. So inhaling, pressing your right shoulder blade down. Exhaling, easing your right knee towards the ground. Take one more breath. Turn your gaze then to the left. Straighten out your right leg. Take a grip of it from underneath with your left hand. If your grip is above your knee, take a belt and take that around your foot, taking a hold of the belt with your left hand. lowering your foot as close to the ground as your right shoulder blade allows, and easing your toes up to the wall that's above your head. Once you've gone as far as you can easily go, then you could bring your breath into play. Each exhale, that's your chance. Use the relaxing, muscular relaxing effect. Ease your toes a little higher with each breath out. Maybe also here you could press your right heel away, off to the left, and press your right hand away to the right. So you're stretching yourself a little longer from side to side. Maybe also just rolling the top edge of your right hip down towards the bottom of your mat. So again, lengthening your upper body. One more breath, final ease up of that leg. And letting go of your leg or letting go of the belt. Bend your right knee so your knees come towards each other. On an inhale, bring your knees to the center, and as you exhale, stretch your legs out, bringing your hands by your side, palms turned up. And from here, we're going to come into some work for the core. We're going to take Jathara Parsvartanasana, churning the stomach, bending your knees, bringing your knees onto your hips, bringing your knees onto your chest. My control of lefts and rights and body parts today is gone completely to pot, even worse than normal. I'm going to try and get a grip. So drawing your knees in towards your chest, so draw them in as close as you can. Shoulders relaxed, so don't allow tension to build in your shoulders as your arms pull your knees down. Then taking your arms out to the side, stretching your fingertips away from you, pressing your arms and shoulders into the ground. Navel comes in towards your spine, strengthening your core. When you next exhale, very slowly start taking your knees over to the right hand side. So come down with control, keep your left shoulder blade touching the ground. Your aim is to hover them as close to the ground as you can. And by as you can, I mean as close to the ground as you've still got some control at your core and a confidence that you'll be able to bring them back to the center. Drawing your knees up towards your right elbow, keeping your left shoulder blade pressing down. And here, keeping your breath steady and smooth. It's very easy to stop breathing at this point. So the breath is all about keeping energy and breath moving in your body. As you next inhale, bring your knees back up to the center. Have a little reset there. Make sure your navel's drawing down towards your spine. Then as you next exhale, let your knees go over to the left hand side. Coming to hover close to the ground as you can take them. Right arm and shoulder pressing down. Drawing your navel in, drawing your knees up towards your left elbow. As you press your right shoulder blade down, maybe just seeing if you can bring more of your upper back into contact with the ground, giving you a sense of your navel twisting up towards the ceiling. One more breath, drawing your knees in as you take it. As you next inhale, bringing everything back to the center, landing your feet down. Have a couple of good breaths, sending the breath down into your abdomen, relaxing your core muscles. And then we're going to take this more dynamically with the breath. As we do that, you'll have an option to keep your knees bent as we just had them, or to straighten your legs, making this a stronger piece of work for the core. So when you're ready, bring your knees back onto your chest, drawing your navel to your spine. If you want to try this with straight legs, you could straighten your legs now. If you do take straight legs, you want to have them fairly vertical, so that as they come down, they head towards your hands. But any option between completely bent and completely straight is also good. That allows you to tune this to your core. So navel's towards your spine, shoulder blades pressing down as you next exhale, taking your legs over to the right hand side. And as you next inhale, bringing them back up to the ceiling, Exhaling, taking them down to the other side. Keep that movement going with your breath. As you're doing it, keep your navel drawing towards your spine. When your legs are down to the side, you either bring your knees up towards your elbow or toes towards your feet. And when your legs are down at one side, be counterbalancing that by pressing the opposite arm down nice and firmly. Making sure you're keeping those moves going with your breath, using the exhale to bring things down to the ground, using the inhale to help bring things back to the ceiling. So the inhale is giving the strength to lift the legs or knees back up towards the centre. Taking one more of those to each side, making sure that for your final one, you're coming up from the left hand side. When you've taken that, lower your feet to the ground, stretch your legs out, hands by your sides, palm turn up, sending your inhale into your abdomen. As you inhale, your abdomen rises. As you exhale, it gently falls. Setting up then for bridge pose. Knees bend, feet come in towards you. Having a reach down with your hands, seeing if you can graze the middle of your heel with your middle finger. You may not be able to reach that, but if you can easily reach your heel, then that might tell you could just move your feet slightly forward so that you're just barely grazing it. Similarly, if you're not touching at all, that might be a signal to bring your feet back towards you a little more. Then just checking your feet are hip distance apart, pressing your shoulders down towards the ground, tilting your tailbone up to the ceiling so your lower back presses down, and then starting to lift your hips away from the mat, pressing gently down into your feet as your hips lift. And then once they're as high as they'll go, pressing your upper arms into the mat to see if you can lift more of your upper back away from the ground. Keeping your breath going smoothly. In this posture, our aim is to have the breath keeping going, keeping energy circulating through the body. So checking in with the breath to make sure it's still going and that we haven't stopped breathing, bringing tension into the body. Maybe seeing if you can press your feet down into the ground and push them gently away from you to see if you can then lift the pointy bits at the top of your hips up towards the corner of the wall and ceiling that's above your head. Then we're going to give ourselves a little bit of a glute workout here. So with your hands pressing firmly down into the ground and your left foot pushing firmly down, see if you can just lift your right foot slowly away from the ground. As it lifts, just readjust your pressure onto the ground so that you make up for the fact it's no longer on the ground. You could keep your knee bent, but you could, if you wanted to, point your toes up towards the ceiling. Pressing a little more firmly into your left foot as you do that, pushing your upper arms down into the ground. Bending your right knee and lowering your right foot back to the mat. Having a reset there, pressing into both feet, lifting your hips, pressing your upper arms into the mat, taking your weight over into your right foot, and slowly and carefully lifting your left foot away from the ground. Pressing into your right foot, feeling the work going on now in your right glute as you point your toe up to the ceiling. Fine to keep it bent if that's what you need. Pressing your toes up to the ceiling, lifting your hips a little higher, pressing down into your right foot, bending your left knee back to your chest, lowering your left foot down. If you've got the energy, a final press into your feet, final press into your upper arms, coming into bridge pose. Then as you next exhale, slowly lowering everything down. The exhale helping to encourage the journey back to the ground, relaxing the muscles, stretching your legs out, turning your palms to face up. Taking a couple of breaths there. And bring your feet together, take your arms up overhead, interlacing your fingers if that's comfortable, pointing your palms away in one direction, pressing your toes away in the opposite direction. Stretching good and long, feet together. And when you think you're stretching as long as you can, see if you could stretch a tiny bit further. And release. Relax, bring your hands back over by your side and come up to sitting. Ready for Paschimottanasana, a straight leg forward fold. So for this straight leg forward fold, you may want to have a block to sit on, and you may want to have a belt to help you to ease yourself forward towards your toes. So sit yourself good and upright. Taking your hands behind you, just to your side and slightly back, so you can press into your fingertips and lift and straighten. And as you just sit here in this position, take your attention to the very bottom of your rib cage, at the back of your rib cage. So you're just aware of where your rib cage ends. And if you just maybe just kind of rock yourself forward a little, rock yourself forward and back, really having an awareness of what's moving. What you want to be doing is all the movement is happening in your hips, so your whole upper body moves backwards and forwards. And so the back of your ribs is moving backwards and forwards. And that's the move we want to get as we come into Paschimottanasana. So bringing that to a halt, pressing into your fingertips, lifting your chest, coming up straight. As you next inhale, reaching and stretching up, so that inhale helps us to energize and activate. And as you next exhale, reaching forward, heading towards your toes, bringing the back of your ribs forward towards your toes, bringing your hands down to wherever they might reach for you. Any discomfort in your lower back, or if you feel that you're sitting upright still, take a bend in your knees to help you to ease forward. And then with your hands just gently holding wherever they reach, or taking a belt, if you want to use the belt to help yourself to ease forward. We're going to use the breath. Here we're using the inhale to activate us and give us the strength to draw forward. And we're using the exhale to relax down over the legs, relaxing every muscle in the upper body that we can relax. And then keeping that going with every breath. Inhale, activating forward, drawing your back ribs towards your toes, exhaling, letting everything relax and rest down. And when I say everything, that will include the muscles in your hamstrings. They're the things that are holding you away from your toes. The more effective your breath out and exhale are, the more likely they are to give you an extra millimetre or two forward as you next inhale. Take one more good breath, inhaling forward, exhaling, final relax down. Lift your gaze to look at your toes. On a big exhale, reach forward. The exhale creates space in the abdomen. On a big inhale, lift yourself back up. Lifting your arms as you exhale, lowering your hands. Taking a shake of your legs. And getting yourself ready for Purvottanasana, inclined plane. So if you were sitting on a block, you might just want to take the block out. Bring your hands behind you with your fingertips pointing away. We're going to take a lift of our hips. If this is stronger than your wrist needs, you can come onto your elbow and take it on your lift on your elbows. Or if it's stronger than you want to for the lift, you could bend your knees and come up into tabletop. So when you're where you want to be, press into your hands. As you press into your hands, let your chest lift. You're straightening your upper body, strengthening the upper body. Then on an inhale, lifting away from the ground as your hips lift, pointing your toes down towards the ground. And then keeping your breath going. So keeping energy moving in the body, stopping yourself tensing. Taking your neck back so your head is in line with your spine. Don't let it rest all the way back. So you'll be looking up towards the ceiling. Seeing if you can lift your hips a little higher. Shoulders easing back and down towards the ground. As you next exhale, slowly lowering your hips down. Once they've landed, sitting yourself up and taking a rotate of your wrists. So do be careful in postures like that. It's good to give your wrists some loading, but don't take that to the point of pain. Let's come on to our fronts, ready to do our back work. So today we're going to build up to Dhanurasana, bow pose. And we're going to do that, as we often do, first of all with a little bit of cobra. So bring your hands underneath your shoulders and rest your forehead onto the mat. We're going to use the inhale as a means of energizing and lifting. So as you next inhale, lift your forehead and look directly forwards. As you next inhale, lift your chest away from the mat, relaxing your shoulders back, bringing your elbows in close. And then keep your breath going so that you're not holding on to tension. As you do that, shoulders ease back, elbows come in, breath steady. When you next exhale, lowering your forehead back down. We'll take 2 more cobras. This time as your forehead rests on the ground, let's just activate the shoulders. So take them up to the ceiling and then down towards your feet. Little up and back movement. As you inhale, lift your face and look forward. As you next inhale, lifting your chest away from the ground. Shoulders back, elbows in. Hands drawing back against the mat, easing your chest forward a little more. Taking one more good breath, lifting as you take it. Exhale. Lowering back down. Allow yourself a breath there. With your forehead resting on the mat, take your shoulders up to the ceiling and down to your feet. When you next inhale, lift your face, look forward. When you next inhale, lift your chest away from the mat. Shoulder blades ease back, elbows in close. Breath steady and smooth. If you want to, on your next inhale, you can put a bit of pressure into your hands, coming up as high as your lower back is comfortable to bring you. Keep your elbows in close by your side, shoulder blades ease back, drawing your hands forward as your chest head back as your chest heads forward, exhaling, lowering back down. Bringing your hands underneath your forehead, resting a forehead or cheek onto your hands. And extending your arms out in front of you and resting your forehead onto the ground. As you next inhale, lift your face, look directly forwards. As you next inhale, lift your left arm away from the ground. And as you next inhale, lift your right leg away from the ground. Stretch your left hand forward and your right toes back. And then each inhale, see if you can just lift a little higher with arm and leg, pressing your right hip crease firmly down into the ground. Seeing if you can peel more of your thigh away from the ground, see if you can bring your left armpit higher. One more breath. As you exhale, lower your leg and lower your left hand forehead onto the mat. Take a breath. Next inhale, lifting your gaze, looking directly forwards. Next inhale, right arm lifts. Next inhale, left leg lifts. Press fingertips forward, toes backwards, left hip crease pushing into the ground. And then with each inhale, see if you can lift your armpit a little higher, see if you can peel more of your thigh away from the mat. Keep your breath going. Maybe pressing your left arm and right ankle down into the ground to help you to lift. One more breath, one more lift. Exhaling, leg lowers, hand lowers. And then bring your hands underneath your forehead, resting your forehead onto your hands or a cheek. So we're going to take that one more time, lifting both arms and both legs, and that will be followed by bow pose, where we'll catch a hold of our ankles. If, as you think about doing that, knowing how your back's feeling tonight, that seems more than you need, then you could take a cobra next, or you could take one arm, one leg, and there'll be a chance to do each side, so you'll keep you balanced. So if you're going to take one arm, one leg, or both arms, both legs with me, I'll be giving instructions for both arms, both legs. Stretch your arms out, stretch your toes back behind you, forehead rests on the mat, or your chin if that reaches more easily. As you next inhale, lifting your face, just looking forwards. As you next inhale, lifting your arms, just get them away from the ground at first. As you next inhale, lifting your legs. Then once you've got that lift off, you can start to press your fingertips forward, your toes back, keeping your breath steady, pressing your hip creases down, seeing if your armpits can lift, seeing if your thighs can peel more away from the ground. Taking 2 more breaths if you can here, steady, strong breaths. Having a final lift. As you next exhale, lower your legs, lower your arms, bring your hands underneath your forehead, place a forehead or cheek onto your arms. Final lift. This time we're going to come into bow pose. If you wanted to take arms and legs stretched out instead, you can do that. That will give you less of a back bend, but it will be stronger actually than coming into Dhanurasana. If you're going to take Dhanurasana, well, wherever you're going to take, stretch your arms out. And then if you're going to take Dhanurasana bow pose, bend your knees, bringing your ankles in towards you. As you inhale, lift your face and look forward. Then as you next inhale, lift your arms and reach them around, stretching back, bringing your ankles in towards you. Pressing your hip creases can help your ankles come closer. If you don't catch your ankles, then you can reach your arms back without necessarily connecting them. Lifting your chest higher. As your chest lifts, maybe seeing if your knees will lift. Sending the message even if it doesn't seem to be getting through today. Then maybe pressing your ankles into your hands a little. That might help your knees lift. Lifting your chest away from the ground. Keeping your breath steady and smooth. Shoulders lifting, head lifting, chest lifting, knees lifting. One more breath. Then as you next exhale, lowering your knees, releasing your ankles, hands come underneath your forehead, resting a forehead or cheek onto your hands. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders, press into your hands to come to hands and knees, wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. And we'll take a little bit of cat-cow to ease the back out. So as you next inhale, lifting your face, lifting your tailbone, letting your abdomen relax down to the ground. We take this on an inhale because that creates space in the abdomen. Because in cow, which we are in now, we've got lots of space in the abdomen for the inhale to go. As you exhale, head tucks under, tailbone tucks under, your back arches up. And we take this on an exhale because as you draw your navel towards your spine here, there's no room for much breath in your abdomen. So keep that going with your breath. As you inhale, lifting your head, lifting your tailbone, letting your abdomen relax down to the ground. As you exhale, head tucks under, tailbone tucks under, your back arches up towards the ceiling. When you next find yourself in cat with your back arching up, hold there. Keeping your breath going, but only as much as you're able to, given that you don't have a huge amount of space for the in-breath, so there'll be maybe slightly shallower breaths. Pressing your hands, knees and feet down into the mat, arching your back a little higher. And releasing. Sitting yourself back towards your heels. Taking your knees out towards the edges of the mat. Stretching your hands forward and lowering your forehead down towards the ground. If your forehead doesn't easily reach and it's more comfortable for you, you could take one or more fists and make a fist, placing your forehead onto your hands. Keeping your breath going, and here the breath is all about the exhale. This is a relaxing posture, it's a rest posture. We want to use the exhale to relax the muscles, to relax the body down towards the ground. You maybe feel that in your armpits, in your shoulders, in your hips. Bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, pressing into your hands to bring yourself upright, and then coming to sit with your legs stretched out, ready for a twist. Maybe grabbing a block or a cushion to give your hips a little bit of a lift away from the ground. Sitting with your legs stretched out. Bringing your right foot over the left leg. And then drawing that foot in nice and close. If you find that that's not comfortable and you're feeling that anywhere, you could keep your foot on the same side as your leg. Both hands on your knee, drawing it into your chest, lifting your chest up towards your knee so you're coming good and straight. Taking your left arm out to the side, taking it back, and then bringing it in with a little bit of momentum so that you can get a really good grip. If you can, having your knee right inside the crook of your elbow. But again, if that isn't right for you tonight, it's fine to have a grip of your knee with your hand. Taking your right hand behind you, pressing into your fingertips to sit yourself up straight. Then when you next exhale, starting to take your chest around to the right. So at first, just taking your head around with your chest. When your chest has gone as far as it will go, taking your gaze over your right shoulder. Keeping your left foot active, so your left heel's pushing away, toes pointing up to the ceiling. And then we'll use the breath. Here we use the inhale to activate, so that's pressing the back hand down and lifting, straightening. And the exhale is to relax. So you're taking yourself a little bit further round, but we're relying on the power of the exhale to relax the muscles. And by relaxing some muscles on that exhale, that might allow us to twist around a little further. As you twist, maybe just drawing your right knee a little across you to the left so that you get that stretch in your right glute, which is your piriformis stretching. One more breath, one more twist. As you next exhale, relax, bring yourself forward, stretch your right leg out, taking a shake of your legs, bringing your left foot across the right leg, drawing that foot in close, bringing your knee in towards you, lifting your chest to your knee, taking your right arm out to the side, bringing it back in so you get a good tight firm grip around your left knee. Left hand behind you, fingertips pressing into the ground, straightening you up. As you exhale, taking your chest around to the left. Head comes just around with the chest at first. When you've gone as far as you can, take your gaze over your left shoulder. Chin level, so you're not looking up, you're not looking down, you're looking straight ahead. Seeing if your left shoulder will go a little more into the space behind you. Then bringing on the breath, inhaling as you straighten, exhaling as you relax and ease round. One more breath, one more twist around. as you next inhale. Release, relax, bring yourself back to the front. Stretch your legs out, taking a shake of your legs. Bringing yourself up to standing from there, where we will take our ITB stretch. So our ITB stretch today, we're going to take the forward fold ITB stretch. So this will be our final posture, and as much as anything, it will be a transition in towards final relaxation. So standing with your feet hip distance apart and your hands relaxing. Taking your right foot across the left. Looking down, just seeing if you're able to bring your toes so that they come roughly into line. So you're looking at two sets of toes, but the opposite way round to what they would normally be. Maybe just bringing your upper body to face forward a little. It will have gone around to the left, so just making sure you're still facing forward. Taking a lift of your arms. Then as you exhale, start to hinge forward from your hips, reaching your arms forward. Then when you can't reach forward anymore, keeping everything lifted, let everything relax down towards the ground in the upper body. So your neck muscles relax, your head hangs heavy. Taking a hold of the opposite elbow with the opposite arm. And then using your breath, so every time you exhale, you see if you can sink and relax a little lower. Tuning into what's going on in down the outer edge of your left leg, that's where your ITB runs. Maybe pressing that left leg, the active leg, a little more down into the ground, so the left leg's pushing reasonably firmly into the mat. And maybe just adjusting, you might find if you take your torso a little more over the foot that's on the left, which is your right foot, you might get more of a stretch, or you might get more of a stretch if you take yourself more over the foot that's on the right, your left foot. So you're just seeing what seems to give you the most stretch, particularly down towards the knee, which is where this ITB stretch, it really tends to activate where the ITB connects at the bottom towards the knee. Taking 2 more breaths, relaxing down with each exhale. And releasing your hands to the ground and allowing yourself to roll up nice and slowly. Uncrossing your legs and recrossing your legs. So now it's left over right. Toes are in line. Your back foot's the one that's pressing down, so that's the right foot. Turning yourself so you're pointing directly forwards, lifting your arms. Stretching and reaching your arms up, and then starting to hinge forward from your hips. Reaching your hands forward as you come down, so you're stretching long. Then when you've gone as far as you can, everything relaxes. Your neck muscles relax, your arms relax, taking hold of the opposite elbow with the opposite hand. Your back foot's pressing firmly down as you start using your exhales to descend you lower with each out breath. Knowing that the more you relax all the muscles around your hips and in your upper body, the more your upper body will be able to drape itself over your legs, and the longer you'll be able to stretch your ITB. Maybe stretching it so long that you're feeling the connections where it connects down around the knee, or you might equally be feeling it up around the hips where it stretches over the outer side of the hip. Back foot keeps pressing gently down, left foot's more relaxed on the ground. Take 1 more breath, relaxing on your out breath, releasing your hands to the ground and slowly bringing yourself back up, uncurling back to standing. Maybe having a roll back of your shoulders, uncrossing your legs, taking a rotate of your hips. Take 2 or 3 in each direction. And then with that, our work is definitely done. The time has flown this evening, bringing that rotating to a halt in the centre, and then coming to lie down on your mat. Take anything that would allow you to be comfortable, a cushion for the back of your head, any clothes that you want to put on, and then resting yourself down. Maybe coming to Shavasana pose, feet out to the corners of the mat, hands away from the body, palms turned up. Letting go as always at the end of class. Bringing your awareness and attention to your breath. Focusing your attention on your exhale. Maybe strengthening your exhale a little. Using each exhale to relax the body more comfortably and more easily against the ground. Knowing there's nothing you need to do for the next minute or so except rest and relax. Keeping your body still. Bring your awareness and attention back to your breath. But now strengthen your inhale. So slightly lengthening the inhale. The inhale is the energizer. So allow each inhale to draw energy into the body, helping you to awaken. Taking a wriggle of your fingers and your toes. Bringing your feet together, taking your arms above your head. Stretching your fingertips away from you, stretching your toes in the opposite direction as you stretch from fingertips to toe tips. Release the stretch. Bend your knees. Bring your knees up towards your chest. Bring your arms round to hug the back of your legs, all the front of your knees. Take a rock side to side. Bringing that rocking to a halt in the centre, landing your feet down, and from there maybe coming via the right hand side for a breath or two, slowly bringing yourself back to sitting. Wonderful to see you all. As always, thank you for joining me. Namaste.